Green Wave.
Green Wave.
Women around the world winning safe and legal access to abortion. Good morning. Hi. I think I have one. Thank you.
We got him. Hi, how are you? Good to see you, Rhonda.
Good to see you. Glad you're here.
Hello. Well, a few folks coming in to sit still.
Just lucky. It's okay. That's good. It is.
You've
it's green.
got
It's good. It's
wonderful
good. Look at all this
black
green.
ensemble today.
Good morning. Good to see you.
You're
I'm so glad you're here. Hi,
you've
Molly.
got
Sorry.
black
Good to see
shirt,
you.
black vest, black
You're
pants.
even taller than your mom.
Yeah.
No, it all works.
Yeah.
Glad you're here. Glad you're both here.
Good morning and welcome to All Souls on this Sunday before Independence Day. It's a complicated observation of the holiday this year, but we are in this together and we can take care of one another here at All Souls. This Sunday marks our second month of our Summer of Peace, our season-long focus on peace practices, and we'll spend July talking about respect. Respect for oneself, for one another, for our environment, and for the inherent worth and dignity and interdependence of all living things. In today's service, we have a powerful message for all ages from our children's RE assistant, Paula Vella, some beautiful music from David Smith, Rick Fortner, Matt Edwards, and the always stunning Dion Lambert. Every chance we get, and a much-needed prayer from our beloved Reverend Gerald Davis, who's with us this morning, and an incredibly important message from Reverend Barbara Prose. If you're joining us online, we're so grateful to have you with us. If this is your first time at All Souls, either in person or online, we invite you to fill out a Connect card found in the pew back in front of you or post it in the chat. Let us know a little bit about yourself, and we'll reach out and let you know more about us. Also, a little later in the service, we'll be holding space for one another's joys and concerns. So I encourage those joining us online to get your prayer requests into the chat, and they'll be relayed to us here so we can hold time for you and connect with you here a little later. And now I encourage you to rise in body or spirit. Take some time to greet one another, celebrate being in community with one another. And please remain standing as I invite Reverend Davis to lead us in our invocation and covenant.
Morning, Louie. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
You'll be able to get them all to focus up, I'm sure.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Oh, I love the sound of people. It makes me think that you're here. Good morning, church. This is indeed a day that God has made. Let us then rejoice in it, and let us be glad. And let us count our many blessings. We are grateful for the capacity to see, hear, feel, and understand. We are grateful for the incredible gift of life, and we are especially grateful for the ties of love, which bind us together, giving dignity, meaning, worth, and joy to all our days. Please join me in our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Welcome to All Souls, where we love beyond belief.
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land, by every tongue.
Thank you. That was a little jazzy.
Good morning. I'm Nicole.
And I'm a
Strongly pro-family, pro-choice, and pro-equality.
Good morning. I'm Nicole.
and I'm Avery.
And this is Ember Vreeland. And we are honored to be lighting the chalice this morning. We behold this chalice with thanks for the incredible gift of life and for the ties of love that bind us together, giving dignity, meaning, worth, and joy to all of our days. We light this flame with respect for the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This morning, this flame represents our fierce hope for our country's health and well-being on this Independence Day weekend. May the light fill our minds and hearts with clarity, compassion, and courage. May it be so.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You are the boss of your own body. This is one of the foundational lessons of our whole lives or OWL sexuality education course that All Souls facilitates, beginning with kindergartners and now crossing 7 age ranges all the way to elder adults. You are the boss of your own body. You decide who touches it and what happens to it. There is a new rule in our country, and the new rule says that not everyone gets to be the boss of their own body. The rule is about pregnant people. Lots of times, when someone is pregnant, they are excited and happy about that, and they can't wait for a baby to be grown and born. But sometimes, when someone is pregnant, they might decide that they can't bring a baby into the world. Maybe growing it in their body will make them sick, or they can't take care of it, or maybe they didn't choose to have a baby growing in the first place. When someone decides their body shouldn't grow a baby, they might have an abortion. This means their body will stop being pregnant and a baby will not be born. The new rule says that pregnant people will have to keep growing a baby inside them, even if they can't or don't want to. The rule says they won't be able to be the boss of their own body. This rule is going to make things hard for a lot of parents and families and kids, and it may also be very unsafe for lots of pregnant people. Lots of people are angry, sad, and scared about this new rule. They are protesting and speaking up for everyone to be the boss of their own body. That's why we're wearing green today, to show that we agree that everyone should be the boss of their own bodies. So today, children, you will go with your classroom teachers, Kwana, Cormac, and myself, to talk about respect for yourself, respect for others, and how you can show and request that respect, because we believe that everyone should be the boss of their own body. Children, follow me.
When every heart joins every heart, and together yearns for liberty, that's when we'll be free. When every hand joins every hand, and together molds our destiny, that's when we'll be free. Any hour, any day, the time soon will come when all will live in dignity. That's when we'll be free. Oh, when every man joins in our song, and together singing harmony, that's when we'll be free. Any hour, any day, oh, the time soon will come when all will live in dignity. That's when we'll be free. Oh, when every man joins in our song, and together singing harmony, that's when we'll
start by dropping a stone of gratitude for that incredible, incredible music. Thank you. Thank you. We are born from sacred waters. We exist as beings of blessed blood, sweat, and tears. And we need the clear, cool ripples that slowly rock us up and down and back and forth, holding us in love and transformation together. We drop a stone into the water today for our dear Mike Newman, who's back in the hospital. He needs our encouragement, our love, our prayer, and care. We drop a stone into the water today for our beloved Dick Leeser, who's fighting off a bout of pneumonia, and we hold him in our hearts, keep him in our minds. We drop a stone remembering Oscar Monty Johnson. Today would have been his 21st birthday, and prayers for his family and all who knew him and loved him. We drop a stone for Pat and Anna Neal, thoughts for brother-in-law Dan, who is in the last stages of a battle with cancer. I invite those in the sanctuary today to speak the names of those you wish to hold space for and care for.
Sophia, Celeste, and Joe Henry.
I invite those of you who have lost a loved one in the past year, for whom this Sunday may be the closest to the anniversary of the loss of that loved one, to rise in honor of them and join us in a moment of silence. And you may remain standing until Reverend Gerald Davis leads us in our sacred prayer today.
You may be seated. Now hear this prayer. Oh, gracious God, Spirit of life and love, we are gathered here because we believe in what we are doing. We are worshiping as a faith community, believing that this moral arc of the universe includes us. We're tested, but we're not the first to be tested. Our history tells us that it's a long march toward freedom. And our history also tells us that those who have gone before us were thinking about us, saying we need to make it better for them so they can follow on this long march toward freedom. So as we encounter the disappointments, we are not discouraged. And so we are praying this morning to give us more strength on our long march toward freedom. Keep us on this path, we pray. Don't let us feel like it's all over, because you told us, I am with you. It's not over yet. Gracious God, we are praying this morning for the strength to live fully in the face of those who would have us not be fully living. Gracious God, we are praying this morning that we are embodied with the spirit of life and love.
Amen.
That we will move toward that which would discourage us and say, oh no, our courage is not with what you say. Our courage is within us, and we will do all we can to be the best we can be in the fullness of your love. We're praying this morning because we know the road is long, but we are able. We're holding on and living good. Keep us that way. In your name we pray, because all things are possible through you. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Sing it with me. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out
For our hymn this morning, we invite you to join in verse 3, and we all sing it together.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together,
For our lives. We are a gentle and a loving and an angry people this morning. We are a people feeling so many things, I imagine. This morning, you may be feeling disheartened, distressed, stressed, concerned, convinced, convicted, victorious, shocked, ambivalent, afraid, overwhelmed, despairing, exhausted, excited, relieved, curious, uncertain, even of each other, afraid, even of each other, silenced, isolated. Whatever you are feeling and thinking this morning, you are welcome here. We are also a strong people and a thoughtful people, a people who balance purpose with passion and reason with compassion. We are a people with a history of supporting and defending the separation of church and state, a people who believe in freedom for and from religion. This morning, on this 4th of July weekend, we are truly a people praying and singing and speaking and organizing and voting for our lives and our democracy. Because this July 4th, 2022, women of childbearing age are no longer the boss of their own bodies in this state of Oklahoma. On Friday morning, June 24th, when I turned on the radio at home and heard the news, I was surprised to find myself standing still in the kitchen, tears running down my face. Surprised because I knew this was coming. Soon, in half of these yet-to-be United States of America, women of childbearing age will no longer be the boss of their own bodies. It feels like overnight we've been thrown back in time more than 50 years. This doesn't feel like 1972. No, the country is being pushed back before the early 70s, when the Supreme Court voted 7-2 to approve safe and legal access to abortion, with 6 Republican-appointed judges on the court then. Here in Oklahoma, we've been pushed back at least 110 years, all the way back to a law written in 1910. That's 10 years before the race massacre. That law, now active, criminalizes advising someone about an abortion and sets punishment at no less than 2 and no more than 5 years in prison for now. So I've been talking about abortion with almost everyone I come into contact with. I mean, at the bank, in the grocery store, with my family and friends, with my neighbors, with some of y'all. One man, a psychiatrist, who asked me not to share his name, because that's how things are in Oklahoma now. In conversation, he told me about the advice lawyers have given all the psychiatrists in his office. If a woman starts to speak or ask questions about abortion, they've been instructed to say, and I'm paraphrasing, Due to the new law here in Oklahoma, I can't discuss this with you. If the woman persists, repeat. Due to the new law here in Oklahoma, I can't discuss this with you. It hurts my heart and my head to know that fear is already stopping women from getting the counsel and support they need, and that fear is stopping us from being able to offer the support and counsel that we have to give. In Oklahoma, we've been pushed back 110 years, but who knows how far back we're going to go. The Supreme Court judges who wrote the dissenting opinions, they have expressed an opinion about how far back we might be headed. And I quote, "Either the majority on the Supreme Court does not really believe in its own reasoning, or if it does, all rights that have no history stretching back to the mid-19th century before a civil war that made slavery illegal are insecure." The dissenters wrote, continuing, "Either the mass of the majority's opinion is hypocrisy, or additional constitutional rights are under threat. It is one or the other." A week later, we know that more constitutional rights will be threatened. Which is why I want to be very clear this morning. If our Constitution does not protect women's full equality, it would not be much of a Constitution at all.
Amen.
But it does. It does. And of course, like Scripture, who it protects and how it protects them depends on how we interpret it. The fact that some people in the United States don't see that the full equality of women in the Constitution is a result of what Michelle Goodwin calls the new Jane Crow. The fact that some people in the United States don't see the full equality of women in the Constitution is a result of what Michelle Goodwin calls the new Jane Crow. Goodwin is professor of law at the University of California, Irvine, and is the author of the article, which I cannot recommend strongly enough, "No Justice Alito, Reproductive Justice is in the Constitution." Goodwin explains how when slavery was abolished, the forced pregnancies of African American and Native Black American women were also outlawed. She explains how because a Black woman's sexual subordination and forced pregnancies were foundational to slavery, the passing of the 13th and 14th Amendments finally gave Black women equal protection under the law because they would no longer be forced to carry and bear children they could not keep or raise. A Black woman herself, Goodwin impresses upon us all the risks associated with pregnancy to all women, and especially Black women. Did you know? Do you know that the United States bears the chilling distinction of being the most dangerous place in the industrialized world to give birth? Ranking 55th overall in the world behind Russia. Did you know that that women are 14 times more likely to die by carrying a pregnancy to term than by having an abortion? And that Black women are over 3 times as likely to die by carrying a pregnancy to term as white women? And that in Mississippi, a Black woman is 118 times as likely to die by carrying a pregnancy to term as by having an abortion. I repeat, if our Constitution did not protect women's full equality and our own right to life, it would not be much of a Constitution at all. But it does. despite the fact that women are not mentioned in it at all. No wonder abortion is not mentioned either. Justice Alito is wrong. And the right to control one's own reproductive life, which means to choose when and with whom to have children, is deeply rooted in the history of this country. Most specifically and heartbreakingly so in the lives of Native Black American women. The overturning of Roe versus Wade means the erasure of Black women from the Constitution and ultimately disserves all women, writes Goodwin. For the first time in history, the Supreme Court has taken away a constitutional right. Until now, the Supreme Court justices have interpreted the profound values and broad protections of our Constitution to intentionally include more and more people, including women, as deserving of equal protection and equal liberty. Therefore, along with Justices Breyer, Kagan, and Sotomayor, I must dissent. And I dissent for several reasons. I dissent because as a certified professional midwife, I know that birth and death are parts of a larger life process, and that trust in and respect for each and every woman's sovereignty is and always will be the guiding principle of my practice. I will always work to protect women from forced sterilization or forced abortion, just as I would never force a woman to carry a pregnancy to term or to care for a baby against her will. I dissent because as a mother, I am so grateful that I was able to decide when and with whom I had children. I dissent because as a grandmother, I am outraged that my granddaughter may not have the same freedoms and rights that I had. I dissent because as a Unitarian Universalist minister, I am more concerned about creating heaven here on earth for families in the here and now than worrying about life in the hereafter or in the here before. I dissent because as a Unitarian Universalist minister, I agree with our nation's founders who insisted on the separation of the church and state for three primary reasons. First, so that people would have the right to practice the faith they choose, and so that faith and faiths would flourish. Secondly, so that people would not persecute or prosecute each other for over religious disagreements, as they had done in Europe. Thirdly, so that people would also have the right to doubt and to practice no faith at all, so that we could each be free and equal, no matter what we believe or don't believe. Creating a theocracy, tying the laws of this state or this country to one set of beliefs, is in direct contradiction to the most profound and pluralistic principles on which this country was founded. This is, however, a great time to come out of the closet as an agnostic, a humanist, or even as an atheist. Because as Kate Cohen wrote in the Washington Post this past week, we shouldn't have to use one God to fight another God. We shouldn't have to be religious to be free. What we need and what our Constitution conveniently provides for is freedom from all gods. I dissent because as a citizen of these not yet United States of America, I still believe that all people are created equal and that we have inherent rights, and among these are life, but that our rights don't stop at the right to life. I dissent because among these rights enumerated in our Declaration of Independence are the right to life, comma, the right to liberty, comma, and the right to the pursuit of happiness, period. And so I ask you gathered here this morning, and you gathered online at Well, do you dissent? And if you do, I invite you now to say so out loud and to feel free to rise as you raise your voice. I want to look around at each other before you sit down. We are the people too. And we want and need Oklahoma's leaders to act as if all their constituents matter. Look around at each other as you take your seats. Thank you. We don't know, we literally don't know what's going to happen next. But we do know who we are. The people of All Souls are people who stand up for each other's freedoms and rights. This is what All Souls has always done here in Tulsa. And this is how we are celebrating our nation's birth this year, by affirming and reaffirming our country's life-saving values, as Frederick Douglass called them. Before Marlin's arrival in the year 2000, All Souls had taken one congregational vote on a social justice issue. The congregation voted to support and defend a woman's right to safe and legal access to abortion care. And then in 2009, the congregation voted to support the city of Tulsa's decision to not discriminate against LGBTQ plus people. We stand on the shoulders of giants. One of those giants is Sue Ames, who once said, and I hope you quote her this week, "I don't know of any woman who goes to a judge or a politician for advice about what to do about her pregnancy, nor should she have to now, Sue." For 20 or so years, Sue Ames single-handedly received and responded to voicemail messages left at the one and only reproductive services clinic then in Tulsa. She tirelessly, 365 days a year, helped coordinate their care, steadfastly raising money for them and their families, sometimes pulling from her own pocket. Last week, the health department revoked the clinic's license. Kelly Jennings is another giant and social justice activist on this issue, and she told me the following story. I had a booth at a Planned Parenthood rally at the Oklahoma Capitol one year. She told me this guy came walking by, stopped, yanked his thumb back at the rotunda where they were pushing another ridiculous anti-abortion law. "What are they doing?" he asked. Then pointing his finger at our poster, he said, "I like that, and I'm a Republican." The best messaging we ever had, Kelly says, was pro-faith, pro-family, pro-choice. And today, because of our learning and integrating the history of Native Black American women in this country, we might add on and say pro-faith, pro-family, pro-choice, pro-access, and pro-liberation. A healthy majority of people in this country are pro-choice and pro-life. About half of the Republicans in this state of Oklahoma are too, according to polls. Now, being pro-choice and pro-life, a popular expression today, means most Americans want to make decisions about their own babies and their own families and are happy to let you make those decisions on your own too. So, what this means for us: prepare to partner with people you never imagined working with before. Because the integrity of our democracy depends on the will and the power of the people. I have pushed myself over the last several weeks to listen to people with whom I disagree, primarily young women who are anti-abortion. It has been difficult and surprising. I learned by listening that there is common ground. The exhausted majority, don't you love that term? The exhausted majority of people in this country are tired of an us versus them mindset. The exhausted majority of people in this country want to be respected for practicing the religion of their choice as they see fit. The exhausted majority of people in this country want children to be well cared for, want strong families, want affordable housing, want access to good mental health care and addiction treatment programs, want good and accessible prenatal and postnatal care and pediatric care. The exhausted majority want accessible early childhood education, and better schools. According to the Hidden Tribes of America Project, more than 3 in 4 Americans believe that our differences aren't so great that we can't work together. So let's use this time of crisis and turn it into an opportunity. Let's legislate these shared aspirations so they become laws. Let's share our own stories and listen to each other's stories. Let's invite each other back to church. We need each other more than ever now. We can rest here, recharge here. We can reconnect with the holy and rely on the deep roots and resilience of this church and its historic role in this community. Let's invite men into the conversation, because I personally am tired of women taking all the risk and all the responsibility. Remember, I'm a midwife and I know how people get pregnant. Speaking of which, before closing, I have a personal story I want to share. Years ago, when preaching on this subject, I told you the story of how quickly Rick and I, my first husband, and I got pregnant. I was all of 22 years old, had no graduate degree or career yet, and we decided together to have an abortion. But I haven't told you yet that we got pregnant again after having our 2 daughters when I was closer to 42 years old, just as I was graduating from seminary. I was ambivalent. He was clear. In his late 40s, he felt he didn't have the energy or the resources to start all over again. He had been an excellent and involved father with our 2 daughters. We co-parented, for sure. I could have decided to have the baby and risked our marriage ending back then. But I respected him then, just as I respect him now, even though we've ultimately divorced. We made the decision together, and it was the right decision for our family. And I am so weary of politicians using our personal lives so they can hold on to power. And I am resolved to find reasons for hope. The global green wave I see before me gives me great hope. Women all around the world, particularly in Catholic countries like Ireland and Mexico and Argentina and Colombia, are organizing and passing new laws protecting legal access to safe abortion care. They wear green as a sign of hope and good health for women and their families, which is why we are wearing green today and why I encourage you to wear green in the weeks and months to come when you begin to lose hope. Remember that moment this morning when we all stood up and dissented together because we, the people, are powerful. Cassidy Hutchinson and her testimony gives me great hope. And despite the fact that I wish Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg had stepped off the court while President Obama was still in office, her words still fill me with hope and strength. RBG had an interesting critique of Roe. My criticism of Roe, RBG said, is that it seemed to have stopped the momentum that was on the side of change. Well, we're here this morning to build back some of that momentum. We're also here to hear and heed her guidance. RBG advised that we fight for the things we care about and do it in a way that will lead others to follow. Fight for the things we care about and then do it in a way that will lead others to follow. We can do that. We know how to do that. We have long been progressive patriots. I love that phrase too. We know how to take a stand and stay open and curious. We know how to move with and through our feelings so we don't get stuck in them, acting from fear instead of from love. We can be gentle and angry and hopeful and helpful. When we remember who we really are, we know we are a powerful and empowered people who won't give up on what we can only do together. So I'm going to focus on the world I want for my granddaughter instead of focusing on what I'm fighting against. We are strong, and we are growing stronger together. We are brave, and we are becoming braver together. We are gathering the energy and the information contained within our rage. That's from Bell Hooks. And we're going to be cool, stay calm, and stay together because we know love. And I love the yet-to-be United States of America. And love always saves the day. May it be so. Amen.
Can you start with the vamp? I want to teach them their part first, and then we'll go into it. So when we get there, we can do a little reminder. All right? Y'all overheard a little bit of a backstage production situation here. At the end of this song, I want y'all to join me. Just like we all descended together, I want you to join with me. So I'm going to have two parts. I'm going to teach this side a part, and I'm going to teach this side a part. When I point to y'all, we'll revisit it, so because y'all gonna forget by the time we get there. And then you'll join me, all right? All right, here we go. So I want this side to go first, all right? You ready? Okay, this is what I want y'all to say. All I know, all I know. All I know, all I know. And that's all you gotta say. All I know, all I know. All I know, all I know. Great, okay. Now with this side, when they finish singing, you'll say, love will save the day, okay? All I know, love will save the day.
All I know,
Love will save the day. Love will save the day. Okay, now that you all have been tutored and we've rehearsed, I look forward to having you join me at the end of the song, all right? Okay. Listen as your day unfolds. Challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears, but go ahead, release your fears. Stand up and be counted. Don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad. You gotta be bold. You gotta be wiser. I see y'all singing. You gotta be hard. You gotta be tough. You gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool. You gotta be calm. You gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Herald what your mother said. Read the books your father read. Try to solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Some may have more cash than you. Others take a different view. My, oh, my. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Oh, time asks no questions, it goes on without you. Leaving you behind if you can't stand the pace. The world keeps on spinning, can't stop it if you try to. The best part is danger staring you in the face. Yeah. Listen as your day unfolds. Challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Here we go, y'all ready? You remember your part? Okay, this side goes first and then y'all follow, alright? Alright, I'll sing it with you the first time and then I wanna hear you. I want you to hear loud, be bold, be bad, alright? Alright, here we go. Alright, this side. All I know. All I know. Yeah, loud, come on. All I know. Yes, come on. All I know, yes. You sound good, y'all. All I know. You ready? Oh, y'all standing. Come on, here we go. All I know. Love will save the day. All I know. Love will save the day. Yeah, love will save the day. Yeah, love will save the day. Hey, you gotta be bad, you gotta be bold. Hey, hey, yeah. Y'all sound so good. You can't hear yourself. One more time. Gotta be. Yeah. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day.
You might not stop and think about why ministers need to be ministered to also. And the past several weeks from this pulpit in these trying times, I have been ministered to by Reverend Prose, by Reverend Davis, by Randy Lewis, by Bishop Pearson. Thank you all very much. Each week, All Souls gives our offering plate away to an organization doing the work of love beyond belief in our community. And this week, we give to an organization we've given to many times before. An organization led by an integral and incredible member of our All Souls community. But due to the oppressive and unconstitutional laws being passed in Oklahoma and all over America, we had to conduct a legal review to make sure we could continue to even support this organization that means so much to us. That is the reality that we are living in, that our values, our priorities, our sacred relationships are now subject to legal review. Our offering this morning goes to the Roe Fund. Roe Fund provides financial assistance to low and no income Oklahomans seeking abortions, and since Oklahoma enacted a complete abortion ban at the end of May and the overturning of Roe versus Wade by the U.S. Supreme Court, we are now helping pregnant Oklahomans access abortion services out of state in Kansas, Colorado, and New Mexico. The client's needs have increased to include gas money, plane tickets, daycare, assistance, food, lodging, while they travel to neighboring states that have not limited reproductive freedoms. Roe Fund will never give up the fight to assure that Oklahomans have the right to bodily autonomy. And before we accept the offering for Roe Fund, we have a few announcements. Today at 1 p.m., Reverend Prose will lead a reproductive justice meeting here at All Souls. She'll tell you more about that as we close the service in a few minutes. And after last week's hugely successful Trivia Night fundraiser, and a big hand for Corey Smith and Shannon Boston for that. That was an incredible night. Wednesday Connections will be on hiatus until September, when fellowship will continue with dinner, chapel, and classes. And for those with youth grades 1 through 6 or 7 through 12, August 8th through the 12th, from 1 to 4 p.m., we will be hosting UU Superhero Comic Book Camp. And we encourage you to sign up. The deadline for that is by July 15th, so learn more at allsoulschurch.org or by contacting Shannon Boston. And for that, as well as for all other RE programming here, we need adult volunteers who will help out supervising and watching over our next generation of All Souls congregants, our kiddos. So please reach out to Shannon Boston or visit the All Souls website if you are interested in volunteering as a child care provider for our RE program. And also next Saturday, mark your calendars, Row Fest 2022, the inaugural Row Fest in Dreamkeepers Park, formerly Veterans Park, July 9th from 4 to 8, local artists selling work, fundraising for Row Fund, just like we are about to now as we gratefully accept your offering.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Rick. It was just beautiful. I'm so grateful that you all stood up. I really didn't know what would happen. So thank you for that moment. Please do join me at 1 o'clock in room 112 if you'd like to continue the conversation, to cry, to rage, to share stories, to strategize together. Keep your eyes and ears open for a class that Shannon Boston will lead in the fall, really about women and men coming together, sharing our true stories. And I have some t-shirts in the foyer that I'm giving away. My benediction is short, stay strong, stay brave. Let us stay together until we meet again. Go and be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.